Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Y'all,
Just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Hello, everyone.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. How are you guys?
Good. I'm in a good mood.
Me too, Jeff.
What about you, Jeff?
Feels good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Everyone looking great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tori wants you to say something about
I
her
know
outfit.
she does.
I
don't
like her
wanna shame
outfit,
her on
okay?
television.
No, he said, Tori, you should get dressed this morning. I think I look great. Here we go. How do you feel about the...
My shirt wasn't crisp enough, and I got yelled at. I didn't know we could wear T-shirts.
That's not technically a T-shirt. It's quarter sleeve
All right, we're gonna have a
material.
little wardrobe.
Wardrobe discussion. All right, let's talk about this discussion because it's very fascinating to me. I came in with a different point of view than I just have now. It's about the word fat. We're asking because Taylor Swift is in the middle of a controversy. So she released a music video, right, for her song, which Tori loves, called Anti-Hero. And in one song, her character steps on a scale, one scene, excuse me, and when she looks down, the scale says the word fat. Now, this is getting a ton of backlash, with one person saying T. Swift should have done better because even if it's relatable and an intrusive thought, it is damaging and fat-phobic. Listen to fat people when they tell you it is. So, Taylor ended up getting rid of the scene. And the question we're asking you here at DBL Nation is, should Taylor have removed it or not? Was it fat phobic? So we want you to go to dblvote.com, weigh in. Your voice is so important to us. Linz, Jeff, what did you guys think when you first heard you got rid of the scene?
I guess I'll tell you. I'll kick it off. I don't know if people are going to like this, but
Your honest opinion.
Yeah, that was my first thing. I don't think people should just bow down to this quote-unquote cancel culture that's, you know, been the last 2 years, and it's had a good purpose, but now it's defeating the purpose, right? And I don't think people need to bow down to everyone's. That's her creative process.
Right.
That's the way she thinks in her own mind. She's not calling anyone else this name. This is how she feels about her own body, and this is how she's expressing herself. Because someone else doesn't interpret it that way,
right,
now they're interpreting that somehow they're being offended by Taylor Swift's imagination. It's like, it's getting to a point where it's just ridiculous, where you're not even allowed to talk anymore. When you're not even talking about someone out there, you're talking about yourself, your internal thoughts, and those are offensive to other people. It's getting a little ridiculous, just in my mind.
And when I think about music videos, it's like a singular way for an artist to express themselves and for you to really understand what the song meant to them. It's almost like a mini movie. And so to tell somebody how to do an artistic movie and tell you that it's offending you, I mean, there's lines that obviously you can't cross that are like not bowing down to cancel culture, just like don't do it. But this is, to me, this is not that. And I just think that we're constantly trying to find something wrong. Like to watch this, 4-minute video and say, I zoomed into the scale, the part that said fat, it's just like so, to me, over the top. And if I was her, I wouldn't have changed it. I would have left my video the way it was and said, listen, send out a tweet like she usually does. This is why I decided to add this in, and just leave it there, which she did kind of explain what the video meant to her. So I think it should be crystal clear.
So I came in this morning exactly agreeing with you two. And then I had a discussion with our stage manager and Michael Dean about this, and I sort of got more insight. And I just want to give you what we talked about a lot. It's not that it's her, because it is about her disordered eating and her body image issues. Taylor's been open about that. That's why she put it in. It's that the word fat, and I had never even thought about that, itself is negative. And that itself might be a word we need to change, because if you say fat, that doesn't necessarily always mean unhealthy. Skinny doesn't always mean healthy. So the way we use fat, so normalized as terrible, 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 is what is fat phobic about it.
And I would think that in 2022 that Lizzo completely changed using that self-described term. She says it about herself, and she just like, listen, this is what it is.
She took the power back.
Yeah, she took the power back to me. So I don't look at somebody like, if you're a size that you're comfortable with and you feel healthy and you're going to at least be trying to be your healthy self, whether it's just like not eating French fries every day, then do you. Because I think also looking at the scale sometimes, no matter what size you are, I haven't gotten on a scale since I had a kid.
I burned my scale.
Right, I'll see a number now and I'm like, oh my God, it's not the size I was before I had a baby. Like, who cares? Like, I feel really good. Like, I've been working out, I've been eating healthy, or trying to, at least, like, you know, in up and down, but it's still like, that's what I got for today. That's what I got for this week. Like, I don't want to see a number there. So maybe she's relating to all the people like me that look down and don't want to to see that because that means fat.
And I think she is, but I guess what I'm saying is Lizzo uses the connotation. First of all, I'm also with you where I think it's like a little bit of censorship for an artist, so I'm sort of really stuck in the middle here. But I just didn't realize that even the word fat and immediately thinking negative, 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 maybe I should step back and think, oh, is that healthy for me to think that way? Does that make sense? The word itself.
No.
Okay.
For me, it's
I hear
not.
you.
So
I do.
you're going to change the word. So to describe an avocado and a doctor's like, these are healthy fats, you're
Right.
like, whoa, 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 doc. Easy with the
But see,
language.
that's in a good way instead of saying.
But it's your
someone's fat.
interpretation of
Right,
it. It's
right.
still the word. If I say, oh, man, I got a little extra back fat. I say it all the time. That's insulting to someone out there. So I have to change it to back potatoes. I got back potatoes now. Like, you're still using the word.
Yeah, I
You're
hear
still
you.
using the term.
I do.
But not everyone's offended by everybody. You know what I mean?
I do. I think that's. Okay, yeah, I hear you.
Move
Poll
on.
results. No, yeah, they're like poll results, but I couldn't hear. Let's see. Should Taylor have removed that fat scene? No. A big majority of you, 84% of you say no. 16% of you say yes.
Wow, I'm surprised by that.
And I'm in the middle. I agree with you guys because I feel like
way
it's.
to take a hard stance.
No, this one's hard on me because I didn't even realize the connotation that fat equals negative is even something I might want to move.
Maybe that's something that you need to change in your mind,
Right, right.
People, I think, who are offended by all these little things are really not happy with themselves.
Right.
So they lash out to whatever the person's on television, doing the movie, whoever they can that will listen to them.
Yeah.
So they're lashing out instead of internalizing their emotions and kind of, again, I'm not a therapist or anything, but that's how I had to do it. I went down rocky times too. The only time you start digging yourself out of your hole is when you look at yourself in the mirror. It's not everybody else's fault. It's your own. And start fixing things one by one about yourself that you don't like. I'm still working on it, but it's something people need to start internalizing more instead of bowing down to everyone's like, yeah, you're right. We're going to take this out. It's the other person's fault. Sometimes it's yours.
Okay, that's fair. I love this conversation. Let us know what you guys think. It's really interesting. On a related note, check this out. Disney has released its first plus-size female hero in a new short film called Reflect. So it's all about body dysmorphia and a young ballet dancer who battles her own reflection, as you were saying, look in the mirror, overcoming doubt and fear by channeling her inner strength, grace, and power. Now, this is reportedly a departure for Disney, who previously only used plus-size characters as villains like Ursula, extras, or for comedic characters, which was always true. What do we think about this? I think it's fabulous just to have representation. Anyone have an issue?
Well, I think I'll be excited when we stop saying it's like the first. And just let the Disney movies just be. Like, we're always like diving into, like, I think I was talking to you about Elsa and saying, oh, people want to know where does she stand on the relationship scale, and it's like, okay, just let her live her life. She stands on the ice part. She just wants to chill with the ice and do her thing. Why are we overanalyzing who she might be in bed with when she gets older? And you know, that's kind of like, it's just like, just let people be, and you know, it's kind of like just let life happen the way that we see it. Like, you don't naturally go up to somebody and be like, oh my gosh, heavy set, or oh my gosh, you're a lesbian, or you just like a living, and it's just like they're doing the same exact things. Oh my God, first black woman. Like, no, we're living like women. You know, so I'm excited when we stop having first and this just becomes normal to have people that reflect society on television, in scripted series, in animated series, in unscripted series. I'll be thrilled.
That was said perfectly.
It was said.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. However, just to really quickly push back, there was a sense of like Disney princesses needed their prince. So I like that they're changing the story. But agree, we don't have to like announce it like the heavy one's coming. We don't need that. We can just live our life.
I thought for sure you're going to play the trumpet there. Like,
it is.
It's like one of those things that make the announcements louder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is there a paperclip on your finger?
Oh, I fiddle when I'm nervous.
Are you wearing a t-shirt?
No, coming up on DBL, we're talking about an article. This is why I teal with paper clips. About an article from the 1950s that lists ways for a woman to get a man. Oh, you won't believe some of the stuff it suggests. And a dad calls out other parents for shaming his daughter's homecoming dresses. We want to wait until you hear how he sets them straight, and I want to hear how the panel feels about it.
Closed captioning provided by...
I'm easily tickled, y'all. It doesn't take much.
We're gonna sit here and be right.
I know y'all gonna be mad at me, but I'm just telling you the truth.
You can smirk all you want. You don't have to tell me to go.
Brad Pitt.
And then you're just like, okay, do it.
The thing that we're going to be talking about next, and I don't want to spoil anything, is whose responsibility is it if you're wearing a short, cute outfit? Is the responsibility of the person wearing it, or is it the responsibility of the men's or boys' or girls' thoughts about that and what they do? The husband, the father saying it's not my daughter's responsibility to manage your mind, which I don't know.
We'll get into that later, but we always have these talks on here about like gender and like there is no difference and everyone's... listen, I'm going to tell you, having 2 boys and then having some friends that have 2 girls.
So different.
It is, I mean, completely different. The toys they play with, and no one's forcing toys on anybody. It's just the little things that they get into, the aggression of the boys, they're out. It's.
I feel like boys always have to be like,
the young girls are more nurturing, and I know it sounds stereotypical, but it's just observing their behavior, and it's like, wow, girls are so different. Not better, not worse, just different.
Very
just
different.
Very different.
Women are from
but
Mars.
we're like mutating into this. Everyone's the same, and
Right.
and from my observation, it is not.
Yeah.
You know what I
Do
mean?
you feel like you can see the girls from your friends group more mature?
Yes, and they're more
Do you-
nurturing,
and
right?
more
So
caring?
my little one, he has a merman, right? We have no judgment in our house. Do whatever you want. Plays with a little mermaid. He tends to hang out with the girls a little bit more. But then you see like his boy side come
I
out, right?
see.
But then you see like that nurturing side because he's the youngest, and the girls are kind of nurturing to him. It's just really cool
baby.
to observe something like that. But then when society jams all this stuff down people's throat, it's like it's just fun to observe on your own without the outside world.
And to
That's
see
all.
it without any bias. You're just noticing
Exactly,
what's going on. Yeah,
exactly.
interesting. Let us know what you think on YouTube, y'all. And if you like my shirt, I like 30 seconds.
Shot.
I threw my paperclip at Jeff. I'm sorry in the break. Welcome back. A father of 2 teenage girls is going viral on TikTok, and we were discussing it in the break even. It's all over this photo he posted on Facebook, and it shows what his daughters wore. I'm just taking a quick look to their homecoming dance. Okay, it got a ton of nasty and hurtful comments from other parents who criticized him for, quote, letting his girls dress like that, calling it provocative and inappropriate. He's now responded. Let's take a look.
It's not my daughter's job to make sure your son is focused in school. Now, let's be clear. Those outfits are not the ones I would choose for my daughters to leave the house. If it were up to me, it'd be 24/7 Snuggies. But if I start dictating what my daughters wear, I'm going to teach them 3 things. A, they'll start to hate me for arbitrary rules. B, they'll start to lie to me. Or C, maybe even worse, that it's okay for a man to tell them what to wear because they look too good. And that ain't happening, Karen.
Whoa, okay.
You can tell he's a news reporter.
Yeah.
The articulation
it was beautifully
down pat.
said, yeah. So what do you guys think of this dad has to say, and what are parents or grandparents like him supposed to do if their daughters want to wear, or sons, revealing clothes? But I think it's more towards the females here. What are your first thoughts, feelings?
Well, I have 2 brothers. I mean, me and my sister are 2 girls and a brother in the house when I grew up. And my parents let me wear short skirts, everything that teens thought were cool. But it was like, if you had a crop top plus a short skirt or like a bralette, turn around. And it wasn't because of the men out there. It was because I said, turn around. Like, and so that's just like, that's not appropriate attire. Just like I wouldn't tell you to go to the grocery store and some things that I see people in the grocery store in. Just like my mom told me I can't have my hair in a wrap on an airplane. Like, it's just, that's not what we're doing here. And it's not because of what the airplane people think. It's because of what your mama thinks. But it's because of what your dad thinks.
Okay, but what your mama thinks about the hair bonnet is different, because that isn't sexualized. This, he's saying, your boys are thinking there's some kind of sexual
But
image.
he said that. If I was a commenter in the comments saying my daughter wouldn't, it's not because of the boys. It's because it's a no from me.
And why is it a no for you? Why is that not okay?
Because it's just like, to certain settings, there's certain things appropriate. It's kind of like, y'all will see my Halloween costume on Monday when we do the Halloween show. You see I didn't do exact to the T of what I could have done because it's not appropriate for daytime TV. There are things that are appropriate and not appropriate for each setting. And so if you're going to the club, that's one thing. If you're going to a homecoming dance and you're 15, it's another thing. And when you're 18, feel free to do whatever you like in college.
Man, Lindsay's speaking my language today, man. You're right on it. You're right on it. I was going to say, I agree with everything. He was almost, I was like, oh, okay. I hear what you're saying. 1, I like that. 2, I like that. 3, I'm out. Because he put it all on men. Who am I as a man to tell my daughters what to wear? How about this? You're their father. So you can tell them whatever you want them to wear. You're not a pervert in the street groping them or whatever. You're their father, and you sit them down and say, hey, listen, I know you want to dress like this. I know you feel sexy. It's 14. There's other people out there that don't have these conversations with their son or daughter, Mr. Sexual, putting it all on men. There's other women out there that like women too.
Very fair. Fair. But what if the question is?
No, but it's have that conversation with them. And I get that. You could let the daughters go. Let them wear what they want. They might lie. I liked what he said in the first two statements. I did not like the last one because he's their father, not some man.
And I agree with you, but really quick, just to push back a tiny bit here, what about the lesson that you're saying other people are not listening? Why is it then their responsibility to take care of those people who have bad thoughts?
Because there's bad people in the world.
Right.
There's people that rob people. There's people that push people in front of the trains. There's people that shoot people. There's people that shoot up schools. You have to protect people from the outside world. Not it's not all flowers and roses.
I just don't think those dresses are even bad. It's just kind of like if you're going to a school event. You know, I'm just kind of like, okay, like it's school.
I really appreciate someone speaking up for when, let's say, a girl wears a skirt and everyone's like, that you need to go home because boys are watching or looking. That's the boy's responsibility to start learning their thoughts and keeping it in their pants and understanding that.
Okay, so if you were it's different when you have children.
I know.
But if you had a 14-year-old daughter that was wearing a skirt that almost showed her underwear, would you be cool with that because you're
probably not.
And I also don't want my son wearing a V-neck down to here or unbuttoned shirt to school. Like that's not a school outfit.
I don't let my kids go out in pajamas. I don't know if it's the same, but they don't leave the house. Put on some regular clothes. Don't leave the house in pajamas.
Fascinating. We'll be right back.
Is it?
Yeah, I do think it's fascinating.
T-shirt?
Looking at this post from the Real Ladies of Loudoun County Facebook page, does anyone know if there's an age limit for trick-or-treating in our area? Apparently the law in the Chesapeake area makes it a Class 4 misdemeanor for teens over 14, so I'm wondering what our area's laws are. Sounds spooky? Sounds like something to verify. Our sources are the laws and officials from these Virginia counties and cities, including Heath Covey, the Director of Public Communications for the city of Chesapeake. Yes, the laws banning trick-or-treating are real. In Chesapeake, the code states, quote, if any person over the age of 14 years shall engage in the activity commonly known as trick-or-treat, he or she shall be guilty of a Class 4 misdemeanor. Before 2019, that law included jail time, and trick-or-treat laws aren't unique to Chesapeake. In 5 other cities, the age is even lower, restricting Halloween fun to those aged 12 and younger. But like a lot of things on Halloween, Covey says the laws aren't as scary as they first appear.
We haven't had 2022 yet, but as of 2021, we have never used the law. The law has never had to be used.
Back in the late 60s, the laws were intended to help police deal with mischief like egging houses or smashing pumpkins. According to Covey, they are still on the books for that same reason.
The biggest problem they're going to have if they're trick-or-treating with the younger sibling or whatever is who's going to get first dibs on the good candy.
As for Northern Virginia, we spoke to officials in Loudoun, Arlington, Fairfax, Prince William, and Alexandria, and none of these jurisdictions have any laws restricting the age of trick-or-treaters. So we can verify, yes, technically these laws do exist, but not everywhere, and at least in Chesapeake, they aren't actually enforced. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Welcome back. One of the most common ways to find a partner these days is by using dating apps and websites. But back in the 1950s, you had to get a little more creative. So an article from 1958 in McCall's magazine listed 129 ways for a woman to get a husband.
Wow.
Some of the tips actually still apply in 2022. Others, not so much. So let's take a look at a few of the tips they listed to attract a mate. All right, tip number 113. If your mother is fat, tell him you take after your father. If he's fat, tell him you're adopted.
That's insane. Especially coming off the heels of the other side.
I know.
We're just talking about.
That was insane. Tip number 44, and I like the reactions from the studio. Learn how to bake tasty apple pies. Bring one into the office and let the eligible bachelors taste it. Because as a woman, you're not working at that office, obviously.
Yeah, workplace romance is a no for me, so I ain't bringing no apple pie.
Oh my God.
But I do like to make apple
But
pies.
I think cooking for someone,
is fair.
for anyone,
Cooking is fair. And
pretty
you
cool.
cook. Role reversal for your wife.
Yeah.
Tip number 23, Michael Jordan, am I right? Go to all reunions of your high school or college class. There might be widowers.
Oh my God, Martha Stewart energy.
Some of these are just like gasp worthy.
Jeff is like not put off by any of this. Why?
No, I am. What do you want me to do? Juggle between each one?
Yeah. Could you?
If I make a reaction when you're saying fat 3 times and I make a reaction, do you see what Jeff did? He reacted on that?
Oh, just juggle.
So I'm
juggle.
just sitting tight.
Okay, good. Just juggle. Tip number 40, stand in a corner and cry softly. Chances are good that he'll come over to find out what's wrong.
This is your number 1.
This is my number 1, you guys.
Oh my God.
This is all I do in the dark.
We learned not to talk to anybody in New York. Just keep it moving.
Yeah, just
growing
walk,
up. So
walk.
I definitely don't think anybody would have stopped.
If you were like sitting there
in
crying.
New York, where I grew up.
Damsel in distress coming from Disney. Talk about that. Tip number 90, never let him know he's the only one, even if you have to stay home 1 or 2 nights a week.
What?
Like you want to seem busy and that you have other dates.
Oh, that works.
I think that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't want to seem too eager.
Yeah.
Eager beaver, a little too much. You know what I mean?
Wait like a day to call him back.
Yeah, take your time. Okay. Tip number 128, let it be known in your office that you have a button box and will sew on bachelor's loose buttons.
No.
Get your own buttons, you dummies. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And then there was...
How often do buttons fall off at work?
I don't know, but if my button fell off and I was single and someone's like, I got that, and they sewed it right back on, I'd be like, you want to go get a drink?
I do have a... Do you want to get a drink?
That's ridiculous.
I can cross stitch so I can actually sew on a button. What do you think about that?
I'm busy tonight.
Got it. We'll be right back. We'll be right back. Okay.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
In early October, President Joe Biden warned the world is at risk of nuclear Armageddon after Russia threatened to use nuclear weapons in Ukraine. Nuclear weapons can cause radiation sickness, which affects internal organs and causes uncontrolled bleeding. Political commentator Glenn Beck shared a story with his 3 million followers about the U.S. stockpiling anti-radiation medication. And the Verified viewer asked us about a similar claim on Facebook. So, let's verify. Is the U.S. government buying a drug to treat the effects of radiation sickness? Our sources are the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, and drug maker Amgen. Amgen's Nplate medication is approved by the FDA to counteract the effects of radiation sickness. It works by helping the body make more platelets, reducing the risk of bleeding. On October 4th, HHS announced it is purchasing $290 million worth of Nplate using money allocated to address national security threats. So, yes, the U.S. government is buying a drug to treat the effects of radiation sickness. HHS would not answer questions about whether Russia's war in Ukraine prompted the purchase, but said the drug is part of an ongoing effort to prepare for nuclear emergencies. Amgen says this is its first order for Nplate from the federal government. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
There have been more than 24 school shootings so far this year, according to data from Education Week. The most deadly? Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, where 19 students and 2 teachers died after a gunman barged into their building. Amid that tragedy, DNA samples were used to identify students who were killed. And now, viral claims allege that in the wake of Uvalde, DNA kits were sent home with school children in Texas so that law enforcement could identify them if they died in a school shooting. So let's verify. Are Texas schools distributing DNA kits to identify children in school shootings? Our sources are Texas State Senate Bill 2158 and the Texas Education Agency. While DNA kits are available upon request through the school districts, they're meant for a different purpose, which is laid out right here in Texas State Senate Bill 2158. The law tasks the state's education agency with providing inkless in-home fingerprint and DNA identification kits to all school districts. Their purpose is to help locate and return missing or trafficked children. The Texas Education Agency confirmed that the kits are not distributed as a means of victim identification following a mass casualty incident. Parents or guardians of kindergarten, elementary, and middle school students can request a kit if they want one. And if their child ever goes missing or is trafficked, parents can turn the kit over to law enforcement. The law, which was introduced by Republican State Senator Donna Campbell, went into effect 8 months before the shooting in Uvalde. So we can verify, no. Texas schools are not distributing DNA kits to identify children in school shootings. The kits are optional and meant to help law enforcement find missing children. With your Verify, I'm Adiande Till. Are you skeptical of headlines and what you see on social media? We are too. The Verify newsletter helps you distinguish between true and false information by answering your questions. It provides fast facts on trending topics, spotlights major stories, and even includes a daily fun fact for all those trivia buffs out there. Get Verify's fast facts delivered every weekday to your email inbox. Go to verifythis.com/email.
Welcome back. It's Thursday, and you know what that means. It's time for some sweet, sweet products from our friends at Morning Save. Check them out. Stephanie, what do you have for us today?
Hi DBL Nation. Hey Tori, I am so excited to show you the fabulous items we've got today. So first up, we've got the Andrew Mark woolen coat. So this deal includes one coat that's available in black or grey, and it's available in sizes small to XXL. Normally this coat is $195, but we've got it for just $49.99 for one coat, which is saving, are you ready, 74%. What about this? We've got the RBX Quad Action Percussion Massager. So this deal includes one massager with an interchangeable head. Normally it's $120, but we've got it for $29.99, saving 75%. All right, this next product, it's the US Polo Association 12-piece super soft 100% cotton towel set.
Yes, please.
So this deal includes 4 bath towels, 4 washcloths, and 4 hand towels. And it comes in 4 different colours. We've got white, we've got charcoal, we've got grey and sea foam.
Love.
Really pretty. And so normally this set is $100, but we've got it for $49.99, and it's saving you 50%. And then our last product, Tori, we've got the Ubu Na Discovery Collection 4-piece serum set.
Oh, whoa.
So this deal includes 4 serums, one of each of the antibody technology serums that you can mix and blend for your own perfect combination. So normally this set is $198, but guess what? We've got it for $29.99 for an entire set. It saves you 85%, and your skin is gonna thank you.
Head on over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices, or you can even just scan the QR code. It's right on screen, and it will take you directly to these products on Morning Save's website. Thank you so much, Steph. All right, guys, so you guys seem to like that, so we're going to give you other things that were in 1958, how to get a husband for a woman. Ready? Have your car break down at strategic places.
Oh, I did that before.
Oh!
No. My tire was actually flat, but I ended up dating the guy who fixed my tire.
That's fair.
Same.
It was in college, so we all knew each other.
Be friendly to ugly men. Handsome is as handsome does. That's why I'm nice to Jeff. I'm kidding.
Wow. And people write me hate mail because I made fun of her T-shirt?
No one writes you hate mail, do they? If they do.
You just said someone hated me because I made fun of your T-shirt.
Well, don't. He's a great guy. And then accidentally have your purse fly open and scatter your contents all over the street.
No, that's not worth it. That's way too much work to reorganize.
I do that every day. No one helps me.
I'm very offended by your comments.
DBL is new every day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow.